This episode is brought to you via Squarespace. Not the Squarespace you're thinking of, you know. Come on and get some. Yeah. Do you want to wow your friends with your photography? So imagine if that is your inspiration into photography. I keep seeing these adverts on YouTube, these photography adverts, you know, which seem to focus on photographers entering into some kind of competition, some kind of, I don't know, what do you call it? Some kind of look at me, look at me, look at me thing. Which I get that. I do get that. I mean, we all want people to look at our stuff, right? We want people to look at our works. I mean, we put a lot of energy and a lot of time in. And it'd be nice if we could get some kind of feedback, some kind of response. But it just kind of grates on my nerves when I see this kind of advert that your growth and development is only as important as the friends and family that you are trying to wow. Yeah? Anyway, I started off by talking about Squarespace, and I'm not talking about Squarespace. The Squarespace I'm talking about is framing. I've been doing a lot of editing of old images, and it is quite interesting how much the information that you're trying to convey in your frame is affected by the shape of the frame. Whether it is a normal 3x2, is it 3x2, 4x3, 4x3, or whether it is, 10x8 or a Squarespace. And I've been experimenting a lot with Squarespaces in the last couple of weeks. You know, this time of year it's kind of usually quite slow, and I haven't been out that much to do a lot of street photography. I haven't been doing any event photography the last couple of weeks. So when things are low, I do have other projects working on, but this time of year I just kind of like hibernate in my Skylab and do a lot of editing and look over some of the images, the growth and development over the space of 12 months. And it is quite interesting. I find it quite interesting with my growth and development that sometimes images that you've taken that you thought nothing of a few months ago or beginning of the year or whenever, when you go back and look at them, you see, because of your growth and development, you can see in those images sometimes something that you never saw before. And particularly when you start adding square spaces, you start adding a frame. So you're focusing on a particular part of your image. And I've found the Squarespace challenge. Yeah, I like that. Squarespace challenge. It's been quite interesting. Even though I do have an Instagram, I don't normally frame it for a Squarespace. I just kind of like put them up and Instagram shows it in a Squarespace. But I don't know. I think I've come to understand in my growth and development, because that's what this is all about. I'm not here to teach. I'm here to share and grow with the listeners, the viewers, the audience, those who want to comment. So I've come to understand the importance of editing, because I've spoke about this before in the sense that I don't normally edit my street photography. I take my picture, I frame it how I frame it, and how I capture it, that's what I normally share on my Instagram or on my Flickr. But over the last couple of weeks, I've been doing this Squarespace exercise, the square space, putting your images in that frame. And it is really interesting how different it comes across, how different what you're trying to share. Is shared. So I'm going to throw some images up to show what I've come into the knowledge of, because I like to share, right, in my Squarespace. So have a look and tell me what you think. Put some comments in below. Also, if you've never edited your images as a square, because a square is a quite interesting shape. It's not something that is natural. If you think about it, not many things in nature, I don't know if anything in nature is actually square. Thinking about it, is anything square? Naturally. It's a very interesting shape. Square. Space. Makes me think of the Borg. Borg cubes. It's a very organized, square, irregular shape. A very human shape, I think. So, yeah, I just found it really interesting. So I'm going to throw some images up. You have a look. Tell us what you think of the Squarespace. Do you need a Squarespace? Is it a mental space? Because it actually does something to you in how you move forward, in doing any photography now. When I'm lifting up the viewfinder to my eye, I'm looking through the viewfinder and I'm seeing a rectangular space. But inside the rectangle space, I'm seeing a square space. So it is a good exercise. It's a good learning tool. Get your square spaces on, I think. The square space. How do I isolate what is in my image that I want to isolate? And that is one of the things that I've always had a problem with. Because I like wido vision. I usually shoot with a wide 10mm lens on my M50. I usually shoot with I got a 50 on here, but I usually shoot with a wide. Because I just like to cram everything in. But sometimes when you cram everything in that wide space, nothing particularly stands out because it's about everything. And, do like that. But the images with impact are the ones that have a subject and you can see what the subject is. You don't have to scan the whole image. So editing is a very vital part of your photography. Even though we talk about getting it right in the camera and we're not using no Photoshop and no post-processing and, this is how I saw it. But I'm finding some of those images, some of the images that I took from the beginning of the year, which I thought were not really usable. Once you apply a square space to them, once you apply a bit of post-processing to them, they're shining up good. So, this is my message at the end of the year as we slowly slide into 2019. 2018 has been very interesting for me photographically. My journey is I'm getting to where I want to be. I'm getting into that ballpark. I'm feeling it because I'm a very harsh critic of my own work. And sometimes it's not good to be so hard on yourself. But I think after all these years, I should be, in that ballpark where, photography-wise, where those images can shine. That's my parting gift for 2018. It's been good. It's been great. It's been interesting. Let's see what 2019 holds. Hopefully it will be a good one. Hopefully we can continue. Episode 75, this is 75. I think it's episode 75. Hopefully we can continue. Maybe we can get to the hundreds, who knows? No one's promised tomorrow, but we give thanks anyway. Give thanks for all those who have been on this journey with me throughout 2018 and before. And those who have just joined, who are liking the channel, stick with me. You're not going to get the same thing like what's happening on most channels, because it's very touchy-feely, and you know that's organic. Organic is the way I work. So you won't get what you normally get, or you may get some weird stuff. You may get some ramblings, which is basically what I'm doing now. You may get some reasonings, you know, some philosophical ones, and hopefully some what do you call it? Looking at gear as well. So anyway, that's it. Done. I've talked enough. Onwards and upwards. Talk soon. Come on and get some. You're gonna get some. You're gonna get none. Kick you up the bum. That sounds like my Telefunken. So there you go.